Hi guys, Claudia Boleyn here. So this is a video telling you that recently I was asked to be in a video by Owen Jones, who is a Guardian journalist, and you might know him if you know about the Labour Party and you're a socialist, and he's quite big in that kind of circle, and I really personally admire him. I made a video about him a while ago about his treatment when he went on Sky Papers, so that's on my channel somewhere if you want to watch it. But yeah, he asked around on Twitter if any bisexuals wanted to kind of come in and chat to him for a video for The Guardian about like biphobia, bisexual stereotypes and all that kind of thing. So of course I jumped at the chance, and I was lucky enough to be picked because they went through the people who said yes and chose us. So yes, I was part of it. So I went to London with Dan, which was fun. Dan was like my chaperone through London because, as you know, I panic when I travel on my own, so I kind of need someone with me. So Dan was fantastic, and we went to see Owen Jones, and I met a group of bisexual people, and we had a chat on camera about bisexuality, and it was really fun. So first of all, I just want to direct you to it. So if you want to watch it, it's on Owen Jones's YouTube channel. The video is called Owen Jones Talks to 5 Bisexuals, and I'm going to put the link in the description box down here so you can watch it and see what you think. Obviously, because it's Owen Jones's channel, he gets a load of dickheads on his channel, so some of the comments are a bit dodgy. Be careful if you're someone who is bisexual and you don't want that negativity in your life. Just watch the video and be happy, like don't worry about the comments because they are in the minority, I promise. But yeah, if you want to give that a watch, then of course I'd recommend it because I'm in it, and it's also like documented evidence that I met Owen Jones. So it was a really nice experience for me. As you know, I've had a couple of those kind of recently over the past like 2 years or so, because I was on Channel 5's Me and My Mental Illness a while ago, which was like a documentary on the TV, and that was like my first kind of experience of doing anything like kind of TV wise or anything like that. And that was great because I spoke about having borderline personality disorder, and I got so much feedback of people being nice and saying that it kind of helped them, so that was fantastic. Then of course I joined the Time team, which was the Doctor Who magazine's Time team, where we kind of reviewed different episodes and things, and it was in the official magazine, which was an interesting experience. And then obviously now I have you know, been part of this video for The Guardian with Owen Jones, so you know, I'm feeling very like a media figure right now. It's very exciting. It's just funny to me because I'm just someone who makes videos from my bedroom, and like YouTube in general has been so beneficial to my life, which is hilarious because I'm not someone who even like, I say I don't like YouTube. I enjoy YouTube, but I don't like, I sound like I'm gonna sound like such an indie hipster here. I don't like mainstream YouTube in the sense that my favourite channels are kind of political channels or people with opinions and doing vlogs about their life or issues they face in their life, or people with a skill who are teaching things like makeup tutorials or something like that. But I don't really particularly like the videos where everyone's like perky and it's all fun and we're all quirky and doing fun tasks, and it's a bit like, it just comes across as a bit fake to me. It might not be, they might just be naturally perky, lovely people, but for me it just doesn't feel like real enough. So most of the stuff I like on YouTube is not, you could name like famous YouTubers and I don't know who they are, you know. I don't really know them unless they're kind of political or that sort of thing. But yeah, obviously something that I want to talk about and will in a later video in more depth is that I'm obviously someone who's very opinionated, I'm quite political, and that's very important to me, like activism, and especially navigating that as someone who has mental health issues and has had barriers, so I can't always physically make my presence felt. So I've tried to make as much as an impact as I can from the situation that I'm in, and I think I've been quite successful and quite lucky with the opportunities that I've had. But yeah, I am quite opinionated, so this was perfect for me. It felt so cathartic, honestly, to sit in a room where the bisexuals outnumbered everyone else. I've never had that experience before in my life. For once I felt like the majority. It was the dynamic changes, and I'm not even exaggerating this to you. It felt like, if you're like the only bisexual person in the room or the only person who's LGBT in the room, sometimes if you're in a group of mostly straight people you have to be careful what you say. Even if they're accepting lovely people, it's almost like you're conditioned, it's not their fault, but you're kind of conditioned to kind of tone it down a bit. Like you don't want to be too out there with it or like make them feel uncomfortable. Whereas in this situation we were just able to talk about whatever we wanted, and we were just sitting there moaning about biphobia for about an hour, and it was wonderful. As you know, I'm such a moaner and such a complainer, and I love that. And since doing therapy I've realised that I'm actually I'm actually correct about this. I've never liked the kind of forced positivity thing at all. I especially think it works as a way to silence groups that are marginalised or oppressed, or people that have valid concerns. I've never been one of those people who's like, oh, just be positive and put on a persona kind of thing. And I think that's really dangerous, especially when you're talking about people from like diverse groups, especially if you're talking about politics, because often you have to express the negativity and point out the problems for things to get better, because otherwise things will stay exactly the same all the time. Like if we were always like pretending everything was fine because we don't want to look negative, then society would just stagnate in the middle, wouldn't it? And nothing would change. You need people who are going to push things forward, and that negativity, that complaining actually helps, because when you call out the problems, things change. Like that's how the world moves on. And it was lovely. Like there was so much positivity in the negativity. So it's just a video of bi people complaining but having fun while doing it, because it is fun to talk about some of the biphobia. It's a serious issue, but some of it is quite funny. And there's a lot of the stuff in the video. Obviously the video that Owen put up is about 15 minutes, but we spoke for a lot longer, and I really valued the experience of just chatting these things over with other bisexual people. Like it really felt like a weight had just fallen off. And bear in mind, I'm someone who talks very openly about being bisexual and talks to bisexual people online, but that particular experience of being bisexual with other bisexuals, specifically going to a place to chat about bisexuality, feels amazing. And something I really love about, I mean, I could talk for ages about things I like about Owen Jones, because I've been a supporter of his for a long time. Politically, I think we're quite similar. I really respect what he has to say and the way he kind of goes about his politics, but also I know that you're not supposed to meet your heroes, and I've been lucky enough in my life to meet a couple of my heroes, and I've had some good experiences and some very bad experiences. And so sometimes I think with journalists, there's two sorts of journalists. So you've got a sort of journalist who is basically doing it for the cred and the money, and they're not really as sincere as you would like, and it's disappointing, because when you look up to a journalist or someone who's a writer, you kind of want them to be that sort of honest, like what they're giving out is who they are. And when that's not the case, I suppose I'm talking on the left. You have the fake woke journalists who want to look woke but aren't interested in doing the work, and in fact actually kind of hinder the movement. And then you have people who actually are woke, like Owen, for example, and I will tell you exactly why, because he is so incredibly humble about it. Because I was talking to him for a little while before we started, and he was saying, you know, the reason he did this is that he was at Pride and a couple of people came up to him and said, Owen, thank you so much for your work for the LGBT community. And Owen kind of thought about that when he got home, and he said he thought, well actually, like maybe I could do more for bisexual people, like, and that's how the idea for this video came about. So I love the idea of him like using his platform to lift up those voices, especially as a gay man in the community, because there are a lot of gay and lesbian people in the community who do have a sort of prejudice against bisexual people. And so it's really good of him to kind of stick his neck on the line like that and really boost those voices up. He really is just a really nice normal guy, and it just makes it even more upsetting that he gets so much stick. People are such utter assholes to this man, and it's so sad, because truly he's so nice. And like I say, I've met people before and you have expectations. Normal, nice, lovely. Will he let us play with his cats? You know, he's just a nice person. And I think that's the sort of activist that I want to be, because I try and follow that sort of example from activists, because we obviously all live in our own bubble with our own issues, and something I try and work on all the time especially is learning about parts of the community that I don't particularly understand. So for example, the trans community, and I'm always trying to listen and alter my language and kind of question my sort of inbuilt thoughts on things that have come about from society and kind of change that around. And that's something that I could see Owen was going out of his way to do, because essentially Owen is a white gay dude and he doesn't have to do that sort of thing. But I always admire people who, even if it will bring them some stick, but they will stand up for what is right and they will try and do the right thing. And I think he's one of those people, and it's refreshing to actually meet a journalist like that, because you become a little bit disillusioned and think, wait, what are people actually in this for, you know? Is it all fake woke? Especially on the left, because you get approached by people sometimes, well I have been, and then you kind of realise, oh wait, I'm just here to tick boxes or something, and I'm here to make people look woke, and it's just a bad thing in general. But that is so not the case with Owen. We spoke about different issues, and because we're quite a diverse group, what was really interesting is to kind of realise how intersectional all these things are. I mean, I believe in like these things being connected anyway, but it really does show when you're talking to different bisexual people in a group and a gay man, and we have similar experiences, but they're all slightly different, and all these issues intersect. So there's issues of race, obviously, and of gender. There's obviously the issues of being trans or non-binary. There's all these different aspects, and they do all interconnect. And we talked a bit about patriarchy, and we talked a bit about how bisexual men are often considered to be gay because of the patriarchy, because men should be the first choice, and how bisexual women are often completely discounted because they are just considered to be doing it for like male titillation. So it's kind of denied that some people can't get it into their heads that you might prefer to be with a woman than be with a man. They think that if you have the choice between men and women, and obviously other genders, but people like that don't usually think in those terms, that of course a woman's going to end up with a man. And obviously the statistics do show that most bisexual women do end up with men, but that's not because we prefer men or anything like that. It's simply because there are more straight men out there who are attracted to women than there are women who are gay or bisexual. It's literally just a numbers issue. Think about, as a woman, how many straight men you meet. It's a lot harder to meet bisexual, lesbian, pansexual women. I got to talk a bit about Emmerdale. Obviously you guys know I'm a little bit obsessed with soap, a little bit, very. Obviously I want to write for soaps or be involved in some way because I really think it's an important tool for social change, because it's the sort of genre that is in living rooms every night and families will see, and it's like background radiation, so you can really, really change people's thought processes through that. I especially like the way it's not considered like high art and high drama, because it means it kind of like sinks in more. It doesn't have to be such an event, it can just be there in the background while people are eating their tea. And I got to talk a little bit about the biphobia issue in Emmerdale actually. I was glad they kept that in, because I've made videos about it before, how incredibly let down I was by Emmerdale with what they did with the character called Robert Sugden, and just all the tropes and biphobia that character suffers. And it's difficult as a bi person to find those bi stories, because lots of shows now will start putting LGBT characters in to look woke, but they'll only really do it and they'll make it a stereotype. So they're getting the praise for being inclusive, but all they're really doing is making things worse, because actually they're backing up stereotypes that harm us and people from that community. And of course it's also from a very straight lens, and this is not about soaps, but EastEnders is doing this fantastically right now and have totally overtaken Emmerdale in my opinion, because while Emmerdale is kind of stuck on tropes and stereotypes, and to this day the bisexual male character is still receiving biphobia, which is just not being corrected by anyone. It's a mess right now. And you know about the whole story with cheating with a woman and getting pregnant and all that stuff. It was a disaster, truly. But EastEnders is really doing it from an LGBT lens right now, so it's like, it's written for gay people, it's written for LGBT people. There's no kind of, oh, let's make this more acceptable for straight people. It just lets the characters be who they are. And they've got other storylines running too. I mean, it's not like their sexuality is them, and they're not stereotyped at all. So as I said, Dan came with me because I can't really travel on my own. It was such a huge opportunity, and I said to Dan, look, I've got the opportunity to meet Owen Jones, and in our family we're pretty left-wing, and you know, meeting Owen Jones is like, yes, it's amazing. And just truly, I can't tell you what a nice man he was. His cats were nice. One of his cats was very naughty, but I still liked it very much. Yeah, so Dan was kind of there for the filming with me, and Owen was so nice, and he was like, yeah, sure, Dan can stay. If you've got like mental health stuff, then yeah, of course, you know, your brother can be here. And it was just so easy and nice. And it made me realise like how nice people in media can actually be, because I feel like if you've been burned a couple of times, it really makes you feel like, oh god, you can't trust any of them, even the ones on the left, because they're just there to like use you for like woke points, but actually they're not very nice. But it's not true, because like I've met a really nice one. I've always been someone who's like so opinionated, like I said, and it gets me into trouble because I think, I mean, for example with Time Team, which I'm not going to talk too much about because I've kind of been in communication with Time Team, Doctor Who magazine, and you know, there's some stuff that I kind of want to talk about, but I don't know, I don't know, it's a bit of a mess, and it's a bit, you know. But yeah, the problem is I'm quite opinionated, and I think a lot of the time people want you to promote things and to be positive all the time. So you have a kind of an issue that happens when you want a group of diverse people to be woke and look woke, but you won't actually allow them to be woke. I'm using the word woke too much. But yeah, if you get a group of diverse people together who are opinionated and that's why you choose them, then it becomes a bit difficult when you essentially want to use them as promoters for something, because it's very different to ask somebody to promote something and be very positive all the time than it is to ask someone to honestly talk about something and talk about what they like and the issues they think that the show might have. I just think they're two totally different jobs that you would expect someone to do, and I think that just became a bit blurred with Time Team for me, because as you know, I am opinionated, and sometimes it's wiser to kind of keep opinions to yourself in terms of advancing, you know, be positive and, you know, toe the party line, say what you're supposed to say, but I can't do it. And I think it's also part of my BPD that I just can't handle authority figures trying to kind of squash my opinions and my expression. I just can't handle that, which is why it's so nice being part of this experience, because it was just an opportunity to be with other people who, everyone in that room was so interesting and opinionated and had their own kind of standpoint, and it was just nice. It felt really good. The sort of people in life I do admire are people like Owen, because the amount of stick he gets, and I spoke to him about some of the stick he gets, you know, I said, you know, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the harassment and the fact that you stand up and speak? It makes people hate on you all the time, and it would be so much easier for you if you were like the others who just sort of went along with it, and you advanced and you wouldn't get all the stick, and you could kind of slide under the radar and, you know, do so well. And obviously he does well anyway, but he was so like inspirational. He was just sort of saying, and he just said that, you know, it's difficult with the harassment, but he just won't let it stop him, and he's just very, I just get really good vibes with the man. This is not like a video about, oh wow, how amazing Owen Jones is, but yeah, it's just nice to know that there are people in media who really do care about these issues, and it's very heartening to know that this is a thing that is happening, especially with stuff in the media right now where we've got debates going on about whether trans people have a right to exist, like actual debates, framing it as if there's two arguments which are equally valid, when it's not a question of that. Of course trans people exist and deserve respect. And the same with teaching kids about LGBT stuff at school. I think a lot of news channels and outlets are treating it like it's a debate which needs to be had, and that really worries me, because it's not. Overall, I think also the experience is good for me, because it makes me feel less like I say, like lots of opportunities have been difficult for me because I'm someone who won't I won't say what I'm told to say or anything like that. I don't do it unless I agree with something, which is why I'd be terrible as a normal YouTuber, because I couldn't promote products and things unless I 100% believed in it. And I'd be awful. I'd be like, I'm supposed to be promoting this product, but it actually doesn't work very well. I don't like this and I don't like that, and it would be terrible. But the positivity that Owen had and that room had, despite the fact that we were like calling stuff out and being like what people would call as negative, was really great, because it is so true that in order to like advance society, you do have to call things out, and it's not like being a negative voice bringing things down. I mean, it's important that people do stand up. So yeah, it was just a really great time for me to not only meet him, but to talk to the other bisexuals in that room and hear the different experiences and just be part of it. I think the funniest thing is that the video is titled, obviously, it's Owen Jones talks to 5 bisexuals. I've got it on the screen here. But the next bit is stop asking us for threesomes in quotation marks, which is great because we do talk a lot about, a lot more than's actually in the video, it came up a lot, about how the first thing people think of when they think of bisexuality is like the sexual side, which is really weirdly dehumanising, you know, when you're talking about an aspect of yourself and it just turns into sex, you know. You don't think of a straight person and immediately think of them having sex. I know this is an issue that gay people have as well, because when people think of gay people, it's like they can't imagine like just the casual relationship moments. It's all about the sex life. Funny thing is that like my relatives will be watching this video, so my grandma will be like, my grandma's excited because she's very left-wing herself, so she's very excited that I got to meet Owen Jones, and yeah, so. But yeah, anyway, this video is just basically to say give that a watch if you fancy it and let me know what you thought. We did talk for way longer, but they chose like 15 minutes, and yeah, I'm really happy with the video. And on a vain level, I was worried. The thing with me as well is that I'm such a control freak. Like, the good thing about YouTube is that I can just talk whenever I want and edit it, you know, and I can be like, have my good side to the camera, which is why I always slightly turn this way. So I'm actually, I don't know if it's vain or if it's self-conscious or if it's a mixture of the two. I don't think I'm vain, I think it's self-conscious. But yeah, I thought it came across quite well, and yeah, I got some nice feedback from people around me about it, which is nice that I've gone from a place where I wasn't out to the point where I started talking about it on here, and now I'm talking a video for The Guardian that people in my family are proud of and are able to share it with other people, and yeah, it's really nice. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you really soon. Check out the video on Owen Jones's channel, and yeah, see you soon. Alright, love you loads. Bye!